feel overwhelmed at times? Confused with how you should raise your child or how to be a mom? You're not alone. Welcome to the Pure Moms, Pure Love video podcast. This is a safe space where we share stories about motherhood, parenting, friendship, love, and life. Here, there are no judgments, just your own experience and journey. Because there may be a lot of ways to be a mom, but all are coming out of pure love. Pure Moms, Pure Love video podcast is brought to you by Absolute Distilled Drinking Water.
Absolute advocates self-love among mothers. That is why we are celebrating Mommy Welfare Month. And from the success of our first episode last week, it's time for another week of fun, filled discussion, and a lot of mommy discoveries only here in Pure Moms, Pure Love video podcast. I am Feliz Lucas, and for today's episode, we will not only talk about moms and babies, but people who are willing to take the responsibility of ensuring our kids' welfare through co-parenting. We actually had an open conversation about this topic in Absolute's official Facebook page. So, before we introduce our guest for today, let's check some of our mommy thoughts about co-parenting. Check tayo. From Mommy Karina Claire, always consider the welfare of the child. I think it's always best if both parents are present. That's true. Next, let's get from Mommy Lara. It's okay as long as they both know what is the priority and it's their kids. And one more, let's get from Mommy Cheryl. Co-parenting for me works as a team. Nako, totoo to. No competition at all. Yes, helping to raise their kids with the right beliefs and values that build a strong foundation for their kids. Nako, I think we are on the right track. Thank you, Mommy Karina, Mommy Lara, and Mommy Cheryl for sharing all of these tips. To share with us their personal experience and tips on co-parenting, let me welcome our guest for today, a child and family studies expert, our good friend, Dr. Gail Galang. Welcome to the show of Pure Mom, Pure Love's video podcast, Dr. Gail.
Hi, Feliz. It's so nice to be here.
Thank you for being here at Pure Moms, Pure Love video podcast. So, eto ba? This is such a new term for me. What ba is this word co-parenting?
Okay, co-parenting is when you share responsibilities with your spouse. Or if it's not your spouse, then maybe anyone who's significantly involved in the child's life. It could be your relative or it could be a friend. It requires sharing childcare duties. So, like for example, when they're young. So, you have kids of your own, no? I'm sure when they were babies, you share responsibilities of feeding the child or of changing the diapers or for putting the child to sleep. Or if they're like a little bit older, then you also share responsibilities in watching over the child as you do your own duties. But that's only child care. Co-parenting also means that you share household duties, like you have to eat. So someone has to prepare the meal, someone has to clean up, someone has to tutor the other kids. So it's a whole range of things that you do together when you co-parent.
What is ba the ideal setup of co-parenting?
Okay, the ideal setup would be, of course, shared or equal parenting. No? So you want your partner or your spouse to be like you, physically available, to be emotionally available for the child, or when the child is upset, at least you have someone there to also comfort the child. Or you also want someone who will be there to be intellectually engaged, because when your kids are growing up, they have a lot of questions and you cannot be the supplier of all the answers. So you really need someone to help you, to satisfy the curiosity of your kids. And you want someone to be there with you, to be also socially engaged. So that is ideally what you would want to find in a co-parent.
I like what you said about socially engaged, that being engaged is very important.
Yeah.
So as a parent, that's the ideal setup. But it's not always like that. So what can you give tips to parents who are in situations where there's anxiety, where it's not the ideal co-parenting setup? Where do they begin?
Yes, so definitely now, because we are still in the pandemic, I can just imagine regular families going through a roller coaster of emotion. So you need really somebody there who will be emotionally available to you, okay, to to help you sort things out so that you regain your mental clarity and your focus.
And it was really affecting the whole household. But when you said how important it is to really be mindful and do things together and discuss the conflict together, it was when we thrived as a family.
Right. So there, Feliz, no, you said a very important term, being mindful. What is a mindful parent? So a mindful parent really is a busy parent who has so many roles, but of course always focused on their pure love, their kids, no? So they have to make sure that in terms of the total well-being of the child, you know, the parents, both parents are there, or the primary parent and all the others who share the parenting role, no? They have to make sure that physically the child is healthy. You know, you're able to guide your children to sleep early because classes are on site again, right? So you need for them to be physically healthy, and you need for the children to manage their emotions. You know, because sometimes they are confused with all these things that they're feeling, and so you need a parent to tell them it's okay to feel that.
That's wonderful. It's very important to really validate what they're going through. And now that you said we're back to almost going back to school, going back to on-site work, and we want both parents to be engaged, but are there pros and cons to, you know, co-parenting? Are there things that we have to be to watch out for?
For the child, physically, he or she is well taken care of, and that's a pro, because if mom is not available, then dad is there. If dad is not there, or one parent's not there, then maybe the lolo, lola, the titas and aunts are there. Somebody's there to help them with their homework and to help them get through school, and someone who would be there to support the development of their talents. Now, what are the pros for the parents? A lot also. So you have all this emotional support, and you also have this physical support. And that is important, because what you want is less stress in your life, okay? And if you are happy as a family, then your kids will also function well, not only in the house, but also in school.
So on the other side naman, so I would hear the benefits of really co-parenting, doing things together, walking the journey together, but what's the difficult side of it?
I grew up in this kind of family from my family of origin, and he grew up, let's say, in a different kind of family. If mine is more authoritative, that it's more democratic, maybe you have a spouse there who's really authoritarian and strict from their own parenting. No? So if that doesn't match, then that can be a potential concern. Also, if you have many kids, you cannot apply the same parenting style on all. It's not a one size fits all. So you have to adjust. There are kids who will really require for you to be strict, no? But there are kids naman that you can be a little bit permissive and you can be a friend, and then the more they'll be open. There are the kids that you can allow them to make choices and you can guide them through, and you know, even if they make a mistake, you're there. So difference in parenting style can be a cause, or if there's parenting rivalry, like for example, when my kids were younger, I'd say, oh, you only love mommy, you only love mommy. But you know, as they grow up, especially I have boys, you know, they have to identify with the dad. So you have to give space for the dad also to come in, so that when they grow up, you know, they can also you know, visualize how it is.
You know, that's very relevant what you said about our parenting style is different. One is authoritative, one is very lenient. Our family backgrounds are different. I'm sure a lot of moms out there, a lot of parents out there are also experiencing this. Magkaiba ang background, upbringing. And if this is the case, if there's conflict that's happening, how does this affect the mental health of the child?
Of course, if the child feels that one parent is, for example, detached, then that somehow affects also the mental health of the child. The child is not too secure or too open, or maybe uncertain about things. But if you have parents who are fully supportive and fully aligned, then your children come out to be more trusting of the environment and more courageous in trying things out, having initiative and having that confidence to do their thing without any judgment. So you really have to align. You have to communicate so you avoid the roadblocks. And when they become adolescents, I see that somehow there's a point where the kids will be a little bit detached, not because they don't love you, but because they're trying to differentiate and they've tried to find their own identity. No? So as parents, again, you have to shift, okay, because they're now changing, they're moving into a different developmental stage.
You know, I think all moms really want our kids to be courageous. We want our kids to feel secured. We want our kids to feel that pure love that comes from a mom and a dad. So, you know, I think we all have the same question. Where do we begin? How do we align? What are the steps to align?
So we already mentioned mindful parenting. I think very related to that is intentional parenting. You know, it just won't happen unless you plan for it. So you plan for moments of quality time. You know, we did a study of adolescents, 400 boys, and we asked them, what is your number one love language? And you know what they said? They said it was quality time. And for the parents, they thought that the number one love language would be acts of service. You know, if I bring you to school, I cook for you, I prepare your baon, I help you with homework, those are acts of service. But actually, what the kids are looking for is just quality time, spending quality time together. And you have to be intentional. So there's just like 24 hours in a day. But if you just maybe spend 20 minutes per kid, the effect of that is already maybe 80 to 100% of quality time that they need.
That's so relevant in our household. So we don't have any house help
Yes.
for the past months already. And I would ask my kids, oh kids, are you okay that you are doing the dishes, you're preparing the food, you're doing the laundry, you're fixing your bed, you're doing everything,
did
and at
they
the same
say?
time you're doing your school? You know, they answered, yes, mom, because we're together. You know, that was so powerful for us. Like right now, I'm here with you, but I feel so secure that my husband is co-parenting with me.
Right. I think you're in a good place because if you start them off that way, then they'll also be used to adversity. Okay, so you want to increase the children's adversity quotient. You don't just want them to be smart. You also want them to be able to solve problems when it happens. You know, and the pandemic is really such a great teacher because it has taught the entire family how to be resilient. You know, when things are very volatile, uncertain, ambiguous, and complex. You know, so it's good that people are moving into mindfulness practices, you know, and also going to self-care.
You know, I'm learning so much from Dr. Gail, from being mindful, from being intentional as parents, to aligning together as husband and wife, to securing and assuring and validating the feelings of our kids. You know, these are all so ideal. Since you have ages from 15 to 25, what has your children have to say about your parenting style with them?
Okay. They say that I'm a cool mom, okay? And I think I'm a cool mom. No, until now, really, I'm a very involved mom, but I try not to be a helicopter parent. You know what a helicopter parent is? A helicopter parent is really super focused on the child and hovers over the child. And, you know, if the child is distressed, the mom is there already or the dad's there already. So I realized, you know, that has a bad effect. Because when they grow up, the child can control emotions. Yung parang, kung kanyari galit yung bata, and you always give, oh, huwag ka na umiyak, no? Nakakahiya, huwag ka na umiyak. Okay? When they grow up, they become really explosive. Kasi ganun, yung parang lahat binibigay. or sometimes they worry a lot because as parents, sometimes they have a tendency to do everything for the child, no? To make it easy for them. So now when they grow up, okay, entitled sila, they feel that people should do things for them. Or you have a child who's not allowed to experience emotion. So if they're grieving, parang ka na umiyak, kung kamiyak kasi you're a boy, or ano, don't cry because... So when they grow up, they're confused about heavy emotions. No? So you don't want to be a helicopter parent. You don't want to be a lawnmower parent. A lawnmower parent, it's like a bulldozer parent. Yung parang ayos na lahat. Di ba? Yung bababa na lang yung bata para... Kasi na-translate mo na, so the only thing that child will need to do is to write it down. So that will not help as well, no? What you want to be is a cool parent, but a firm one, diba? A gentle and a firm parent. So my kids say naman that I'm a cool parent.
You know, my takeaway so far with what you've been sharing on how to be a cool mom, I have years ahead, but I'm learning so much. That's the best part of being a coach mom, is not hovering, not lawnmowing, not helicoptering, but allowing them to set the banks and then being the best that they can be.
But you know, Feliz, it also requires a lot of prayers, that they be guided well, and that how you, and trust that you brought them up really good.
Your style is very effective. And my takeaway as a young mom is that when my kids are unruly or do things that are out of control or we lose our temper, that hey, I just need to be present and it is not against me. What they're going through is that they're just having a battle within them and that they need a mom beside them to go through it with them, to pass through that tunnel. And I think that having a mom who is not afraid of failure with their kids secures that child's love.
Mm-hmm. So it will happen that there will be emotions that are too heavy for both of you, for you and your spouse and you and your kids, because it's a triangle. If one relationship there is not functioning well, it will affect the entire family. But what I do there, I use the stop technique. You know, stop, S-T-O-P. So stop what it is you're doing. Okay, that means don't make any decision when you're really emotional. So that's stop, and then take a breath. So I do a lot of breathwork exercises in the morning. I think the pandemic has taught me that. Talagang in the morning pa lang when I wake up, I really do my breathwork exercises. So take a breath, then observe. Oh, what's going on? Okay, so that you're more rational about it. You just give awareness to it. And then P is, okay, proceed with calm.
So stop, step back. T is to take a breath. O is to observe. And P is to proceed with calm.
Excellent.
I'm learning so much. May free therapy session na ako today with Dr. Gail.
Nice.
How can they continue to learn with parenting after this?
I think
with you.
as parents, you should always remain to be curious. So never stop learning. If they want to take courses, they can go to the check out the courses in Miriam College. That's a PhD in Family Studies, and of course, they can also talk to people. You know, talk to other moms. Okay. Then they can also reach us. Yeah? They can reach me on Instagram. I have an Instagram also. It's Gail Frances Galang. And then let's start a conversation.
That's so true. How important it is to have a community. And we moms, natatakot tayo humingi ng tulong. But it's so important for us to have a community, to do things together, to communicate. And that is why co-parenting is so important, that you are not alone. Pure love is knowing that you can ask for help.
Right, because it takes a village really to raise a child.
Ang dami kong natutunan today, and I'm pretty sure those who anticipated this episode and posted their comments on our Absolute Distilled Water Facebook got some tips to apply to. One mother commented, and I quote, "It takes a village to raise a child, so yes to co-parenting." Thank you so much, Dr. Gail, for letting all the good talk flow much like the refreshing taste of Absolute Distilled Water. So how are you feeling today? And sharing all these good insights to our mom mommy community.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that I was given this space to share some parenting experiences and techniques. And for the parents out there, you just really try to take it easy. Parenting is always evolving, it's always changing. So just be curious also like a child, keep learning. And if in case things fail, then pat yourself on the shoulders and say, it's all right. You'll do better next time. So aim for a good process, not really for perfection. And when your intention is really pure love, then everything else will fall into place.
So wonderful. The intention of co-parenting is pure love. That's it for today. Kaya sa ating mga viewers and listeners dyan, please share, like, and comment our episode para naman maraming mga mommies ang maging more aware about co-parenting. Stay tuned again next week for our next episode, and we will talk about the pain of mothers, the pain of shedding the tears of joy, and that is after birth. I am Feliz Lucas. See you again next week for Pure Moms, Pure Love video podcast.